Hey everybody, I'm Josh, and welcome to the supersized Season 5 finale. Thank you. On the show today, join me as we close out Season 5 and finally figure out whodunit. So sit back and relax, because especially in this episode, trust me, I've got a lot to say. That's right, everybody. Not only is it the Season 5 finale, not only will you be finding out who the killer is, but you will also get a look at the clues, as well as I'll announce who the winner is. And according to our friends at holidayinsights.com, June is National Cat Adoption Month, so if anyone you know, including yourself, obviously you know yourself, is looking for a pet... is looking for a pet for your household, please be sure to check out your local shelters. I'll say it till the day I die. Not only will you save their life, but they will save yours as well. It is a jam-packed episode, everybody, so we're going to get right into the host chat. I just have a few things to talk about that. So let's be real. I film my episodes in advance. I've filmed episode 9 about 3 weeks ago. And I couldn't film this one until closer to the date because I wouldn't have a winner till last week. And so I finally get to film this one. So I've had my break, and after this, I'm going to start. I have episode or season 6 planned. I just have to script and find all the pictures for it. So which is over about 300 pictures. Anyway, so within the last 3 weeks, when I took my break, I kind of analyzed episodes or seasons 1, 2, and 3 in the old vibe of the show, and I analyzed seasons 4 and 5 of the new vibe of the show, and I think it was the best decision I ever made. I am proud of the show now, and anyone will tell you I find a reason to bring it up in any conversation. You tell me your dog died, I'll tell you how I'm supporting PCAPS, and you should adopt a new animal, because I do it on my show, which is blah 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 blah. I'll be honest, I do it all the time. And I'm pretty sure it was because of the old name. I was honestly embarrassed. I had no idea what I was doing. And I feel like it's a new vibe. It's more energetic. And I'm not just reading off a script. I should, because I lose my place all the time and have to pause and try and find it. But I ad-lib a bunch, and especially the pictures. I used to write down all my jokes for the pictures, but it's like when I start showing them, something pops into my head, and I'll be like, hey, that's funnier than what I have written down. I'll do that one. And then it just kind of stays like that. So what I'm going to do next Sunday, I'm going to come out with a survey that I'm going to post on my Facebook, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second, and my Twitter account, which I put up at the end of every show. But if you don't have Twitter, or you don't have me on Facebook, I will email the show. I will put it up at the end of the show, again, like I always do. And I'll be happy to send it to you. I have gotten the question as to why I don't post my Facebook page. That some people don't have Twitter, they want to follow me, and get the links to the shows when I post them. And I have to respect everybody. I have some friends, my family particularly, some really close friends of mine that don't want me to say their names. And I respect that. Legally, I can't do it. But not just, I mean, even if it wasn't a legal issue, I wouldn't do it because I respect that. And otherwise, honestly, I would have a co-host. One of my best friends would be my co-host. But I get it. It's totally fine. So I don't bring her up, or I don't say her name. I don't say my family's name, or I try not to. It may slip out now and then. But regardless. And so the reason I don't give out my Facebook page is because everybody basically would be able to then go onto my Facebook page and figure out who I'm talking about. And because they don't want themselves brought up, I'm not going to let you try and figure out who they are. And so that's why I don't put my Facebook page Thank you for the question. But it truly is just for my private life. Anyway, moving right along. Before we get started, one more thing. I play Animal Crossing, and I'm proud of it. For example, I have 4 spots on my island that I continuously change the decorations to depending on the season or the event. And that right now, with summertime, I have an outdoor bistro cafe, I have a cemetery, I have a movie set, and I have a concert area, an outdoor concert area. And so I love showing off my island. I love seeing other people's islands. I love getting ideas to do to my island. I mean, I wouldn't know to do something like that until I see it and then change it to the way it fits me. But yeah, if you guys want to be my friends, and I always think of it as I'm filming, and when I film, I have to disconnect my keyboard for my microphone. And so I never think about it unless I'm filming to put my friend code up here. But I will put it in the description of the video, so check that out, and please, please, please friend me, and I'll be happy to show off my island and come visit you. And I'm in the northern hemisphere, so obviously right now in the southern it's winter time while we're having summertime, so you can always catch that type of fish there and bugs and stuff like that. So anyway, without further ado, let's get on with the show. That's the end of my host chat. But I am going to start a new little blurb bit to the show because, like I said, I film in advance. And sometimes events that are happening in my life or events that are happening around the world, current events, if I talked about them, which is why I stopped doing Table Talk, by the time it got posted, it would make no sense. And it would be outdated. So in episodes where I have nothing in my host chat to talk about, I'm going to start doing this little bit that I'm going to call It's Gotten Really Sad. And this particular one is more directed toward the kids of the world. So I'm going to ask all the adults, all the parents, that if you have a kid in your household or at your house right now, if you're babysitting, go get them, bring them to the computer, have them watch this little bit, and then have them do what I'm suggesting. Because I think all parents would agree with me with what I'm about to say. And I get that vibe because I've had this conversation with a lot of parents. So, without further ado, here comes a new little bit. I don't have an intro for it yet. That I'm going to call It's Gotten Really Sad. Here we go. Oh, wait, before we do that, we need to get the kids. So I'm going to take a drink of my drink, check my texts real quick, and then while you go get your kids. So go. Oh, you're back? Sorry. Okay. Here we go. So, hi kids. Please watch this episode and then do something that I'm going to suggest in just a few seconds. Before we get started with our finale, there are just a few things I would like to say to the kids out there. Find something to do. Look, when I was a kid, the latest we would sleep in is 10 o'clock. We'd go outside, play with our friends, and go home for lunch. Or sometimes eat lunch at your friend's house, whether their parents knew it or not. And then we'd go back outside and play until dinner time, or until your parents got home and they found out you didn't do the chores they asked you to do before they got home from work. So they would call you from the door. Literally open the door and yell your name. Not call you on your cell phone or text you to come home. They would go out to the door, embarrass you by yelling out your name. And you knew when they were calling you in for dinner time, or you knew when they were calling you in because they figured out that you didn't do the chores. And here's how you knew the difference. If your mom just yelled your name, it's dinner time. If your mom yells your name and it's your full name, you're in trouble. If your dad yells your name, you better tell your friends you're not going to see him for a while. Because dads never yell their name. And then, after we'd eat dinner, are you sitting down for this one? We'd go back outside and play. We would find something to do. One of our favorite pastimes was flashlight tag. And you can't play flashlight tag in the light. So we'd play outside at night. I mean, you guys have cell phones now. You can keep in touch with your parents. But go outside and do something. My friends, we had a group of friends, and there were like 3 or 4 different divisions, and we would have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament every summer. Every summer. We wouldn't play consistently, like every day or every week, or we'd play when we could get together. But every year, we would set up a little 3-on-3 basketball league between ourselves. Back in my day, we didn't have Xbox, PlayStation, smartphones, or any of the technology that you guys have these days to sleep in till 2 a.m., hang out with your friends while you're playing a video game in your own home, and talking to them through headsets. That's not hanging out with somebody. Go outside. Find something to do. We used to have to use something called our imagination. In my head right now, I have a studio audience full of people. But in reality, I have 10 sad, empty chairs. And yes, it's sad because I actually put out 10 chairs. I'm kidding. I don't have 10 chairs in my house. Anyway, back to you. All I'm saying is go outside. Have fun. Your life does not revolve around technology. And this is a true story. It happened to me personally a couple of weeks ago. Which is, I have all of my... I'm sitting here being a hypocrite telling you not to rely so much on technology when my house is set up on technology and I have a web show. I get the hypocrisy. But when I was a kid, that's not what we did. The first part of my life, we didn't even have the internet. Can you imagine a world without the internet? Anyway, lost my place. Which is why I should stick to my script. So the other night, I'm getting ready to go to bed. We had no Wi-Fi, which is why I was going to bed, because there was nothing to do. And it took me literally 20 minutes to figure out how to shut my lights off without the Wi-Fi. I have my lights set up through my home assistant, and normally I say their name and to shut off the lights, and she does. However, without the Wi-Fi, it doesn't work. So I spent a few minutes trying to figure that out. When that wasn't working, and I'm like, oh, there's no Wi-Fi, it's not going to work. What did I do? I went to the app on my phone and tried to turn it off that way for a few more minutes before I realized, oh, wait, no Wi-Fi, that ain't going to work. So then, again, I'm not bright, people. I get it. I went to the adapter in the wall outlet where there's a little power button and tried jamming that thing that did not come out right. Sorry. And tried turning it off that way before I realized it's not going to work without Wi-Fi. So then I had to realize, oh wait, I can shut them off at the light. 20 minutes! That's how dependent we are on technology. What's even worse is the next morning I woke up and spent 10 minutes trying to figure out why my lights weren't turning back on. We cannot rely so much on technology. We've become so dependent on it that we use it to turn on our lights and turn on and off our lights, to preheat our oven, vacuum our floors, babysit our kids. Schools aren't even teaching how to write checks anymore because everyone uses a card. It's all technology based. They're not even teaching cursive anymore because of e-signatures. Well, you just sign on the computer now. No. You need to continue. I remember growing up after second grade, you weren't allowed to write in anything other than cursive. Well, some teachers let you slide. But 99% of the teachers would not let you write in anything but cursive so you would know how to write in cursive. The other day I asked my nephew to sign his name and he had no idea what I was talking about. With all of that said, what would happen in 100 years from now with our kids if something tragic were to happen and all of the satellites went down? By then, I would assume, 1, I'd be dead. 2, we'd have all electric flying cars, electric doors that slide open and closed. Everything would not work. You'd be stuck in your home or outside of your home because you wouldn't know how to get in and out. Everything you do is electric. No money would exist because no Wi-Fi, no one would have access to any of their money. That's how sad it's gotten. So go outside, find something to do after you watch this episode and every episode of mine. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have technology. Hello, I'm sitting here doing a web show and spent a half an hour figuring out my lights without technology. All I'm saying is that we cannot rely so much on technology. And with that said, let's get going with our season finale. I know the ending of it kind of sucked. I'll figure it out by next season. But let's go ahead and get going with our finale, and we can't do that without another cheesy monologue. As usual, I went to latenightlol.com, and in the search bar, since we're closing out our mystery tonight, I typed in the word murder. So all of the jokes, while outdated, will have something to do with murder. So hold on tight. Here we go. In a tweet this morning, Donald Trump suggested that Joe Scarborough is a murderer. This is a big step for Trump. It's the first time he's connected crime to a white person. Earlier this week, a woman in Taiwan fulfilled her husband's last wishes and invited strippers to perform at his funeral. She said it was the least she could do since when he suggested having strippers at his funeral, she murdered him. There is now a $250 fine in New York if you get caught eating in the subway. And if this works, maybe they'll crack down on murder. Sorry, my finger literally spasmed. An Oregon romance novelist who published an essay entitled How to Murder Your Husband was arrested yesterday for allegedly murdering her husband. What's sad is they're now concerned about her new essay called How to Poison Your Lawyer. Here's my joke of the week. I haven't said this much this season, but it's a good one. Here we go. Happy birthday to Angela Lansbury, who turned 84 today. She celebrated at her party until one of her friends was murdered. Like you didn't see that coming, people. Brazilian officials have asked all tourists not to fight or scream if they get mugged, while also asking everyone not to die if they get murdered. It's not working out so well. No. Mayor Bloomberg is so upset by the rising murder rate in New York City that he's considered making it illegal. First step. Here's this week's point to ponder. Some days, I think the only thing keeping me from being a homicidal maniac is the fact that the voices in my head can't decide on which weapon would be more fun. Professional children's clowns are upset that Stephen King's new movie It makes them look like murderers, while professional murderers are upset that it makes them look like clowns. Authorities say that the crime rate in Los Angeles last year was the lowest in 50 years. Murders are down 18%. Apparently, gang members realize that you don't have to kill everyone. You just have to defriend them on Facebook. It's the ultimate burn. They go on to search your name to diss you and they can't find you. A football player from Troy University in Alabama was arrested for murder, and it turns out he's ready for the NFL. And finally, There's a new movie coming out this weekend called Snow White and the Huntsman. Charlize Theron plays an evil queen who's willing to commit murder just to keep a more youthful appearance. We have a name for that. It's called Everyone. I hate that delay. Anyway, I'm really proud to bring you our first segment because it's all from you. That's right. It's time for my first ever What's Wrong Here fan viewer submission edition. Apparently, I thought it would be fun to make everything really hard to say today. Now, all of these pictures came from you guys, whether you emailed them to me, sent them to me on Facebook, or through Twitter. Thank you so much. Keep them coming. I'm going to try every season to have a viewer submission edition. So there is no particular category. They're all kind of about everything. So no specific category, except that they're all from you guys. So without further ado, here we go. Now, I have said before, I'm not the smartest knife in the drawer. I can't even talk, apparently. But I will also not claim to be a mechanic. I know how to change my oil, I know how to change a tire, and that's about it. Sometimes I can figure out the battery. Sometimes. Other times I realize that I need gas. Anyway, and I still have a little trouble with that, especially when I eat beans. Oh, Lord, here we go. Just keep going. Anyway, it's my head. Anyway, so I don't claim to be a mechanic, but I think I can figure out what's wrong with this car, and I don't know if you really need to be looking at the engine as carefully as this guy is. Now, you remember a while back, I told you guys about the island that Alyssa and I are going to make. And how everyone's going to pay with things for time. You're only going to have a certain amount of time on our island unless you're got special privileges, like family and whatever. Or that we just really like you. And that if you're stupid, you'll immediately get shot out of off the island and land somewhere. Who knows? It'll just be a big cannon. You just go and figure out where you went. Anyway, this person would be the first to go. And just looking at this picture makes me grab my junk. Maybe he shouldn't be using the chainsaw if you're going to start it with the blade between your legs. Wrong kind of people. Next up, I just have one question. Nope, yep. I just have one question. How? Did she think it was a ramp? And lady, watch out, that first step is a doozy. She kind of looks a little drunk. Like she's going to fall out, not step out. Or that she just got ready to get out of the car and her foot wasn't hitting something, so she like, what? Oh, for those of you that didn't see that, which is everybody, she was like, what? Anyway, I just need to restart this show, but I'm not going to. This picture is just really cute, and the timing was perfect. Next up, okay, let's say you won a contest. I know, everybody wants to win a contest. The contest was that you win everything you've ever wanted in your life. But, yeah, there's always a caveat, and I know big words. You have to buy this house for $1. Okay? It's the perfect dream house. You buy this house for $1. Just $1. And you'll get the person of your dreams. You'll get the car of your dreams. Live in the state you want to live in every state if you wanted to. Get $10 bazillion, all just because you buy a house for $1. I would not buy this house, and I would give up everything because of this. Like, that would just be, no, I'm sorry. I cannot do that. That little issue would stop me from being happy the rest of my life. So this next picture came in, and I looked at it, and I'm like, it's a lady pumping gas into a container. And then, that's all it is. And then I look closer at the container. And all I can say is, the wrong kind of people. It's a laundry basket with holes in it. Step on up to the shoot you anywhere rocket and get the hell off my island. Next up, this person is really having fun with their job, or was ready to walk out and did this as their last one. Cooking instructions: pan fry slowly on low medium heat until bacon renders and is cooked into your desired crispness. If you really don't know how to cook bacon, please contact your elected officials and complain about the education system. Every American should know how to cook bacon, seriously. Like, is that just an FU to everybody as you walked out and didn't tell anyone you did it? That would be funny, though. Now, this next one, just like the gasoline one, took me a minute. I was like, why are they sending me a picture of hamburger buns? Until I realized it was hamburger buns in a hot dog bun package. Ayos míos. I don't know what it means. I just hear people say it. Okay, so I've shown you stupid ass people. Like, someone starting a saw blade between their legs. Or someone trying to fill a container, a laundry basket container with holes all over it with gasoline. Never would I ever think I had to show you a picture of a pizza box that states, open box before eating pizza. This pizza tastes like cardboard. And finally, you know, the local gas station here in town, this is not from there, to be clear, sells these, or a version of these, and they're really good. It's like hash browns with cheese in it. So, this place calls them the Cheesy Melt. 8-piece cheesy tots, I guess they're called. Can we zoom in on that price? You get 8 of them for $99.99. I will tell you, I've had them and they're good, but they're not $99 good. Just for fun. $99.99 divided by 8. That would be $12.50 per hash brown. Anyway, little fun fact. So it's time to close out National Cat Adoption Month with the next issue of Possibly Adorable. So the only thing we haven't talked about with cats is cat shaming. And some people find it as a way of being mean to the cat, or the animal, or the kid, aka animal. But I think they're funny. Like this one, that randomly stated, I peed on the hamster. I didn't eat the hamster, I peed on it. You should be happy. Next up, I tipped over my brother and ate him. Now this one took me a minute until I was like, why did they literally, like, is it cremated and in that container? And then I realized that's the type of container with the rocks and the water that you keep a betta in. She ate a fish. This one is hilarious. I stand in the litter box and poop on the floor. I watched a mouse eat my food and did nothing. Hey, some cats just don't do it. I mean, my dog is a hunting dog and is scared of me clapping. She's afraid of a fly. I literally had to go into the other room. Like, okay, so she was in the back room looking out the window, and then all of a sudden, like, she just darted in here and, like, stood behind my chair and would not move. I could not figure out, like, I would go into the bedroom, she'd follow me in there. I'd go into the kitchen, she'd follow me in there. I'd go into the bathroom, she'd follow me in there. And then I kicked her out and shut the door. Did my business, came back out, and realized she wouldn't follow me into the back room. So I'm standing in there and I hear a fly. She stands by the door. I kill the fly. She enters the room. Seriously, she's afraid of a fly. Anyway. This next one, don't leave your money out, because this cat ate $300. I guess, nah, I'm not going to say anything. I don't have a joke to say. I put a half-dead mouse in my mouth, in my mama's mouth, while she was sleeping because she was not waking up to look at it. My dog, I will say that obviously she sleeps in my bed. My family, never mind. She has, like, not intentionally, but I sleep with my mouth open and I snore. And she has unintentionally French kissed me to try and wake me up. Or stop me from breathing. Whatever. It's probably the latter. Anyway. Now, I've adopted an animal, obviously. And there, you can feel a connection between you and that animal. And sometimes the animal just doesn't like you. For example, when I first went and looked at her, she ran over to my mom when she came into the room. And then at first she kind of didn't want to come over to me. And then finally she warmed up and started, like, then we felt that connection, I hope. Anyway, sometimes that's why animals just want to act like a douche when their prospective adopter comes over. Is they just don't want to go home with you and don't like you. Get over it. Here's the next one. I left a dingleberry on the couch and my mom's friend thought it was chocolate. Next up. Oh, there it is. Sorry. One of my pictures disappeared. All right. Next up. I jumped into the fish tank. And I love that the cat is still wet. But they take a while to dry, don't they? And finally, I'm just going to let you guys read this one. And I love the look on the cat's face. Anyway. Well, everybody, it's that time. It's time to find out whodunit. Oh, that's my calculator. Let's try that again. It's time to find out whodunit. That's right, everybody. We have gotten to that part of the show. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to reread you the situation because it's been a couple months. And then we will get down to business. Here we go. Marshall Harrington lost control of his vehicle on his way home while coming down Walsh Pass this morning. He was returning from a business meeting at Crow's Nest Restaurant. Mr. Harrington ordered breakfast platters for 4 and then waited for 3 people to join him. Those who were attending were... Oh, crap. There we go. Okay. Those attending were... Can we start over and pretend like that didn't happen? Okay. It's time for this week's edition of Here's My Take. All right, now here we go. Here is the case. Marshall Harrington lost control of his car coming down Walsh Pass this morning. He was returning from a business meeting at Crow's Nest Restaurant. Harrington ordered breakfast platters for 4 and then waited for 3 people to arrive. Those attending were Lucky Harrington, his son, typical rich kid whose mother made Mr. Harrington promise the son's allowance after she died. Lucky was basically just marking the time until he got his hands on the fortune. Then there was Greg Harrington, his nephew, his brother's child, who has made an effort in supporting himself as he runs a small manufacturing business. However, his sole client is Mr. Harrington. And finally, William Prescott, Mr. Harrington's attorney. He was forced out of a larger firm to which no one will say why or talk about. He works exclusively now for Mr. Harrington. All 3 people depended on Mr. Harrington for their livelihood, which, when each arrived, instead of menus, the waitress, as ordered, gave the men a copy of the new will, which out one of them from the will. The waitress stated that the uproar was almost instantaneous. Lucky was screaming that his father's will was illegal, while William, the lawyer, assured Lucky that the will was legal and would be valid as of tomorrow. The copy was already at his office, ready to file. For the record, this means Mr. Harrington died prior to the new will being put into place. It was found that someone tampered with Mr. Harrington's vehicle while he was at the restaurant. Mr. Harrington demanded loyalty, and while he accepted a lazy son, incompetent lawyer, and indifferent supplier, Mr. Harrington changed his will as soon as he believed one of the men concerned were anything less than loyal. As a matter of the record, this will would not have affected anyone else in Mr. Harrington's life, only one of these 3 men. After making his announcement, Mr. Harrington told the 3 gentlemen to enjoy their last meals on him and left the restaurant laughing. It was then when he left the restaurant and was headed home that Mr. Harrington met his end. So, that was the story. One of these 3 people killed him. Will the first innocent person please go off the screen? That's right. It was not Lucky. It was the other one. Greg. Will the non-killer please leave the screen? That's right, everybody. It was the attorney. And I basically told that to you in one sentence, which was... If you were paying attention, the waitress said that Lucky was screaming that the father's will was illegal, and William, the attorney, quote, ensured Lucky that the will was not only legal, but would be valid as of tomorrow. The copy was already in his office, ready to file. Which means he is the only one to have seen the will already, to know that he was being cut out of the will. Now, if you... Okay, can we get him off the screen now? Because he's like in the middle. Alright, there we go. So, in each episode, I had 2 clues. One verbal, one visual. And now I'm going to go through and show you all of the clues. And I did it... I had a lot of fun doing this, and it was kind of stressful to make sure I had the clues in and when to... whatever. But I hope you guys picked up on them. And I know one of you did because one of you killed him. Or one of you won. And I'm going to get to that here in a minute. Here we go. In episode 2, at the beginning of the show, I think throughout the show, I had a red herring and a clue right next to each other. The clue was the towel with shamrocks on it. The red herring was the word Mouse Motel. The verbal clue in episode 2 was in the last segment, one of the last picture, I said, quote, that guy was not Lucky, end quote, which is referring to the killer, that guy, the killer, was not Lucky. So that immediately eliminated one of your suspects. In the 3rd episode, in the background during the opening, I have a $1 bill and the word court written out. The $1 bill referring to Bill, which is a shorter way of saying William, and court referring to William's job. The visual clue or I'm sorry, the verbal clue, which was not actually a verbal clue, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But I have my cards numbered all the time, and on the cards, I had changed them to, the last one was blank because I have 5 cards. The first one was a 2, the second one was a 4, and the third and fourth one were 5s, which spelled out, or which was 2455. If you looked at a phone, the numbers spell out the word bill. But it didn't work out because I didn't write the numbers big enough. Anyway, in episode 4, in my auto not correct segment, sorry, wrong picture. In my auto not correct segment, I created one of the text messages, and it was pretty obvious which one it was. It was the only one that was black because I have my phone on night mode all the time, and I like it. But the text, and again, it was the only one like that, so it should have been obvious as to, hey, something's up with this one. But the name, who the text is from, was not Greg, which pointed to not being Greg and eliminated him as a suspect, at which point only left Bill. Also, at the end of the episode, in my tease for season 5, I say that the next episode is something that, quote, you could sue over, which again refers to Bill's occupation as an attorney. And the next one, episode 5, I have, in the background, I have 4 gray canisters with a red tie, or with a red something, sponge or something that I cut into a tie, which matched the clothing that William Prescott was wearing in the picture. Sorry, I'm trying to get all these off the screen now. And that was the only clue in that one. It didn't have a verbal clue. In the final day of the episode, the only clue that was in that one was actually 10 of them. In the segment, The 10, I was talking about 10 stupid state laws. Again, referring to Bill's career. I hope you guys all had fun. I hope maybe that helped you guys point them out. And finally, it is time to announce the winner. Congratulations. I hope I pronounced this right. Jesse Schimmelfing? Schimmelfing? Congratulations, Jesse. I will be in contact with you. Obviously, I can't contact you until I post the episode. But right after I post this, I will get in contact with you as to how to get the reward of $50 to you. Well, that will do it for season 5. I hope you guys had a lot of fun playing the murder mystery. I had a lot of fun putting it together and doing it. It was so hard. I actually went to the CBD store the other day where I used to work and saw Alyssa, and she was like, we were talking about something, and she's all of a sudden was like, I can't figure out the killer. And I wouldn't tell her. Like, I've kept this hush hush. Like, I never do that. I'm not saying I'm a blabbermouth. But I wanted to keep it a secret. Like, it was something I was proud of, just kind of like the show. Anyway, like I said earlier, please be on the lookout if you watch this for a survey. And please, please, please fill it out. I would love to know what all of you guys think about the show. Not just right now, but anytime. If I start a new segment and you guys don't like it, please let me know and I will stop doing it. I don't want you to stop watching me because of one segment. So please let me know if there's anything on the show that you don't like. I will take it under consideration and see what I'm going to do about it. But just keep in mind, it is my show. I do have the last say. Actually, I don't. My dog does. I run all the ideas by her. And then on the ones she likes, she eats the cookie. The ones she doesn't, she doesn't. Anyway. Actually, that might be a good idea. I should work that into the show somehow. Anyway, without further ado, let's end the season. If you see something you think that's funny, and let me start over again. Sorry. If you think there's something funny that I should see and share on the show, please send it to me here on my socials. my email, Twitter, and my Instagram account. And I'm going to give you a few seconds, kind of like I did. Go get your goods. And maybe your kids can show you how to do this. But please like, subscribe, comment below, and get the notifications anytime I post an episode or a video. Be sure to look out for the final Pets of the Week coming out here in just a little bit. After I post this episode, be on the lookout for that. I know I kind of haven't been keeping up with it, and I'm not going to do any during the break. But in the next one I do, which is going to be right after this, I'm going to do makeup for the last times. So please check out your local shelters. I can't wait for next season. I can't say there's much big things going on yet, because like I said, I just haven't planned. I haven't written anything. But I'm begging you to stay with me, to keep watching. And I know it will be a good season under the new thing. We'll have some new segments. We'll say goodbye to some segments like we always do. Anyway, without further ado, everybody, until the season premiere, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Until the season premiere on July 25th, please have a good summer, be safe, celebrate the 4th of July, but celebrate safely. And for those of you whose dogs freak out because of the fireworks, get some CBD, it really works. Also, for those of you douchebags that shoot fireworks after the 4th of July, you should be buying the CBD for the dogs and cats. That's all I'm saying. Without further ado, everybody, until July 25th, that is all I'm saying.